Hi everyone, welcome to the second annual Alumni Cabaret. My name is Mr. Gusevich. I am the theater teacher here at Union City High School. I am coming to you right now from Union City High School. This is our theater, our auditorium. It is quite empty, quite desolate right now, and it speaks volumes to our theater world right now. But that is the point of tonight. I want to bring some of that excitement and that positivity and that joy of seeing theater live and in person and bring it to your homes. And I hope soon enough we get to fill these seats back up with all of you, and I get to have my students perform for you on this stage, and we get to have some live theater again. There is nothing like the magic of live theater. So let me tell you a little bit about what is happening tonight. We have some of our amazingly talented alumni coming back to perform some numbers for you, mixed in with some chats that I'm gonna have, some little interviews with some of my actor friends from Broadway, from major motion pictures, all to come in and talk to you all about what is happening in the theater world, in the acting world, in the performing arts world during this pandemic, how artists are dealing with what is happening in the world right now, and also to kind of give some inspiration to aspiring actors, all of you out there that are watching and hoping to be part of the business one day. Some amazing, amazing interviews I have for you guys. So I can't wait for you guys to see it. Now, one thing that you will be seeing throughout the night, you will be seeing a little link pop up down here. We are trying to raise awareness for this amazing organization called the Actors Fund. Now, what the Actors Fund does, it provides help for working and performing actors. They are around all year, but especially during this pandemic. I'm not sure if you heard, but Broadway shut down. On March 12th, it shut down completely. That means that all of the actors, all of the dancers, all of the singers, all of the musicians, the orchestra, stage crew, stage managers, so many people lost their jobs. And so what I wanted to do tonight is raise awareness about this amazing organization and encourage you all to donate if you can to the Actors Fund. The website is right here. Why I think tonight is so special is because we are banding together as young artists, as aspiring actors and actresses, and we are performing and trying to raise money to support the professionals in the field that you want to go into. I don't think there is a better learning experience than that. So that is what tonight is about. So when you see this pop up tonight, anything that you can donate would be so wonderful, because there are many, many families and many theater professionals that are suffering right now because of this pandemic and because of this Broadway shutdown. So let's begin our evening. We have a few student hosts that will be guiding you through tonight's performances. First up, I'm gonna send it over to Alicia.
Hi there, my name is Alicia and I'll be one of your hosts this evening. Kicking us off tonight is a Union City native who you might recognize from a number of projects, including Broadway's Bye Bye Birdie, Amazon's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Netflix's The Week Of. It's my pleasure to welcome Allison Strong performing Moon River.
Hi everybody, Allison Strong here. I'm so excited to be back and performing for you this evening, afternoon, morning. I don't know what time it is during this pandemic. It's been a hard 2020, but there's a lot to be grateful for. You're here, so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for our lineup of performers, and I'm grateful to the Actors Fund, which is why we're here. The Actors Fund is an organization benefiting performing arts professionals by way of the COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund, the Friedman Health Center, job search assistance, and also with financial wellness classes that I've taken, and they are fantastic. So if you have anything to give this holiday season, consider donating to the Actors Fund. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much.
Moon River, why
crossing you in style. Someday you'll dream maker, you heartbreaker. Wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same rainbows and waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend, Moon River and me. Ooh, 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 ooh. Happy holidays.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juan, and I'm so excited to be one of your hosts tonight. You may have seen this next performer in UCHS's productions of Wild Thing, In the Heights, and Xandu. Please welcome back to the UCHS stage, Maria Jesus Valdez.
Hi guys, it's MJ back in Union City. So excited to perform for you guys. It's been a while. But I'm going to be performing Breathe from In the Heights. And Union City ended up doing this show a couple years ago. And throughout that process, I made so many awesome friends, made new connections. And I'm super grateful for Union City for providing that that environment and that special show that like is super in my heart. Anyway, without any further ado, here is Breathe from In the Heights.
Sigue andando el camino por toda su vida, respira. Y si pierdes mis huellas, que Dios te bendiga, respira.
This is my street, I smile at the faces I've known all my life. They regard me with pride, and everyone's sweet. They say you're going places, so how can I say that while I was away, I had so much to hide? Hey guys, it's me, the biggest disappointment, you know. The kid couldn't hack it, she's back, and she's walking real slow. Welcome home, just breathe.
Sigue andando el camino por toda su vida, respira.
Just breathe.
Y si pierdes mis huellas, que Dios te bendiga,
As the
respira.
radio plays old forgotten boleros, I think of the days when the city was mine. I remember the praise, I te adoro, te quiero. The neighborhood waved and said, Nina, be brave and you're gonna be fine. And maybe it's me, but it all seems like lifetimes ago. So what do I say to these faces that I used to know? Hey, I'm home. Hey,
No me preocupo por
they're not
ella.
worried about me.
Mira, allí está nuestra
We
estrella.
are all counting on me to succeed.
Ella sin alentar.
I am the one who made it up. The one who always made the straighten the spine, smile for the neighbors, everything's fine, everything's cool. The standard reply, lots of tests, lots of papers, smile, wave goodbye, and pray to the sky. Oh God, what will my parents say? Can I go in there and say, I know that I'm letting you down? Nina, just
Hey everyone, this is Mr. Gusevich. Throughout the night, we have a few special guests joining us. First up is Noah Ricketts from Broadway's Frozen.
Hey y'all.
Hey Noah, how are you?
Hey, good.
Great. So we have a few questions for you for our audience. So first off, how has quarantine, COVID affected you as an actor on Broadway?
Yeah, I mean, it affected me in so many ways. My whole life kind of turned upside down. So we had our last performance of Frozen on Broadway where I played Kristoff. I think it was like March 11th, right? And so it was a two-show Wednesday, and the next day on Thursday, I was in line for the grocery store. I was getting groceries and a lot of toilet paper because apparently that's what you needed at the time. And I looked at my phone and it said, a Playbill article said Broadway shut down for a month. And at first I thought, oh, wow, month of vacation, right? And then after I took that month of time off, I realized that we were in for so much more. And so throughout that process, 3 months passed and our show actually closed completely on Broadway. We were the first one, and it was absolutely devastating. It was, the shows come and shows go and shows close. It's a part of the history of Broadway, but to not do it as a group and not have my people that I started this thing with was really devastating. So it's been an uphill climb trying to get my spirit back in order and keep the faith through all of this for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Okay, jumping to our next question. Can you tell us a little bit about the Actors Fund and your experience with it and how it's affected any friends or fellow actors on Broadway?
Yeah, so the Actors Fund, I love the Actors Fund because they say they're for everyone in entertainment, and they really mean that. So I had a personal experience with the Actors Fund a little over a year ago when I had an apartment fire. And so I lost a ton of stuff, beds, lights, dishes, you name it, was completely destroyed. And so someone led me to the Actors Fund, which I had always heard of but never actually used. And so they were super, super great about getting me a new mattress, getting me a new bed frame, just kind of helping me get back on my feet again, all while doing 8 shows a week. And so they are absolutely incredible. They're a wonderful service. So if you're in the entertainment business and you need any help at all, you have to reach out. And in addition to what they give, they also offer a lot of classes that I actually take myself. A lot of finance classes, a lot of like simple classes about how to write a regular resume, not just a theatrical resume, which is a pretty useful skill.
Yeah.
And they're always there for you. They actually have healthcare workers and people that you can talk to if you're ever in a dark time. So I'm a very big fan of the Actors Fund for sure.
Yeah, I think that's so important also to note that an actor never stops learning about the business. I think there's
Exactly.
always room to grow, always room to learn as an actor as well. And the Actors Fund supplies actors with that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, next question, which I suffer from as well, is how are you staying motivated during all of this? How are you staying creatively motivated? Because it can be hard.
So when this first happened, I needed the break. Like my voice and my body and my spirit needed a little bit of a come down. And so I took the time to honestly relax and eat a lot of junk food, which was really, really good for me. And so after that, after 3 months of that, I was like, all right, it's time to get it back together. And so I've been doing every single online concert that I can do, singing for anybody, singing for everybody. I had the chance to sing with the Houston Symphony and do their first ever live symphony performance during all of this. We had 50 people in a 2,000 seat house, all socially distanced. And so that was a pretty special moment. And so I've just been finding little scraps of creativity here and there and other sides of creativity that I don't get to explore, like tie dyeing and painting and pottery making, all that other side of things I never get to do. And so kind of exploring other aspects and other avenues has kind of reignited my love for my one true passion, which is theater and acting. So it's been a good time to explore new ideas and new adventures.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, last up, I wanted to ask you for any advice that you might have for young teens that are looking to go to school for acting or pursue um, a career in on Broadway, TV, film,
Mm.
specifically the Latinx community, because Union City specifically has a lot of actors of color. And I believe all of the actors that I even got into BFA programs during my time in Union City have all been Latinx actors.
Mm.
What advice do you have for young actors of color?
Um, I would say as hard as it can be, you have to stick to what you do and what you do well. And so when I was getting into this business, I always like to say there were two sides of the coin when it came to Broadway and musical theater. There's before Hamilton and after Hamilton. And
Mhm.
so I came to New York pre-Hamilton. And so the idea of colorblind casting and all of those things are really what hadn't been introduced yet. But I was really adamant about sticking to my guns and doing what I did well, right? Singing the way I sang, acting the way I act, and sticking to my guns fully. And I'm really happy that I did. I didn't allow the industry to shape me. I shaped the industry by being the way I am. And so it ultimately paid off when I got to play the role of Kristoff and Frozen on Broadway, which was really great. Never saw that one coming. But that would be my biggest advice, especially for actors of color, is just to create your own box instead of letting people box you in one of their own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Noah. I really
Uh,
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Stay well, stay strong, and hopefully Broadway will be back very soon.
Yes, it will. All right. See you soon.
Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Samantha and I'm super excited to be one of your hosts this evening. Our next performance starring UCHS productions of Xanadu and played the role of Pippin and Pippin, singing She Used to Be Mine from The Waitress. Please welcome Christian Rivera. Woo!
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be performing for UCHS once more. I have so many fond memories and I'm so happy to be able to have the opportunity to make more. I hope you enjoy the song. It's not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me. These shoes and this apron, their place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she's kind. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She's all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. And it's not what I asked for. Sometimes life, it just slips in through the back door and carves out a person and makes you believe it's all true. And now I got you, and you're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two for that girl that I knew who was reckless just enough. enough, who gets hurt, oh, but learns how to toughen up when she's used, and gets bruised by a man who can't love. Oh, and then she'll be stuck and be scared of a life that's inside her, growing stronger each day, till it finally reminds her to fight just a little, to bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone, but it used to be mine. It used to be mine. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She's all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She's gone, but she used to be mine.
Hey everyone, my name is Anisha and I hope you are all enjoying the show so far. Our next performer starred as Nina in UCHS's award-winning production of In the Heights. Please welcome back Sarai Caicedo to the UCHS stage as she performs Never Enough from The Greatest Showman.
Hi everyone, it's Sarai, Alumni 2016. I hope you guys are safe and happy and nice and cozy in your homes and you enjoy the show. I'm trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand, will you share this with me? 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. If these hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough for me. Never, never,
Hey everybody, Mr. Gusevich again. I hope that you are all enjoying the night so far. We have our next special guest. This is an actress that is very dear to the Union City High School family. She is from the original Broadway 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, the original Logan Schwartz and Grubinier, Sarah Salzberg.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for being with us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. If some of you guys don't know, we did the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee a few years back in Union City High School, and Sarah was wonderful enough to come in and do a workshop with the actors, and we've been in connection ever since, and it's a wonderful working relationship we have.
And we also have the same taste in paint color.
Yeah, it looks like we are in the same room, but it's an illusion. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you spending time with me. So we're just going to go through some questions, a little interview, and then we'll go back to our alumni performing. So first off, Sarah, how has COVID and quarantine affected you as a performer, as a creator, as a mom?
Well, I think probably like most people during the shutdown, it was pretty depressing and pretty hard to get through all of that time and to know like what was going to be happening from week to week and month to month. And it just kind of felt like nobody was in charge, and then once the summer came, I think it felt a little bit more refreshing, and certainly like being, I'm sorry about that, certainly being in New York, and being outside, I'm such a people person. So to be in the city and have people be out, it felt invigorating to me. And where I live in New York, I live in Harlem, it's like people are out, people are just wearing their masks. So that's really nice. I'm a social person, and so it's really nice for me to see people. I'm actually speaking to you from my office, where I come to almost every day. And so if I'm able to have that human interaction, it's really helpful for me. But, I'm just hopeful that people will, take care of themselves this winter and wear masks and be safe so that we can sort of get out of this as soon as we can, because it's hard.
Yeah, I want to get back in the classroom.
Yeah.
Cool. One thing that I'm asking all of the actors that I'm talking to is, how are you specifically staying creative during this time?
Yeah, I've done a couple of short videos sort of talking. I have a real estate firm, which and so I've really tried to keep the messaging for the firm positive. I'm the creative director of the firm. So, what I always think about is in any challenging situation, how to turn it into a positive. How do you turn that challenge into something that actually kind of sets you apart? So, I'm a small business owner too. I have my own brand. Every actor has their own brand. So how do you take your brand and sort of tweak it and bump it, right? My very good friend is Laura Benanti. And at the beginning of the shutdown, she started doing sunshine songs, and that has really taken off and turned into something really wonderful. And she had, I don't think she had any big plan for it to be what it is now, but, sometimes when you just start with something small, it can turn into something much larger. So I always think about, well, what are the things that are important to me? And what are those things that I want to bring into the world, instead of like, oh God, I have to be creative right now. And how am I going to do it? It's hard to force creativity, so I would just say, look around. What's inspiring to you right now? Where do you find the inspiration? Do you find it in nature? Are you finding it from, connecting with friends and family members? Are you finding it from, watching other people, being inspired by other people? But as artists, that's sort of what we do all the time,
And I think creativity ebbs and flows, because I looked at this like, oh my God, I'm going to have so much time to get everything I've ever wanted to do done. And then you sit there.
Yes, and I also think that that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know, and when in the creative process, there's sometimes times I know, like when I'm writing, where I'm like, oh, I guess I've lost it. I guess I'm just never going to be able to write again. And I guess it's over. I guess this is it.
Oh, well.
And then, you know, a week later, I'll be doing something completely different, and something will come to me, and then I can go back and write it. But I've sort of learned, like, you know, you can try to push yourself, but then there comes a point when you're like, just let it go, and it has to just work itself out. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? That's okay.
Yeah. Okay, on to the next question. Now, throughout the night, we're going to mention the Actors Fund and how it's helped different actors and how much they've been helping actors during all of this and providing help in every which way to them. So I just wanted to ask you what your relationship was with the Actors Fund and how they've helped you or friends within the business.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Actors Fund has sort of historically and certainly now done a really great job of listening to, communicating to actors, communicating with actors, and then advocating for actors. I know as a mom, there's work that the Actors Fund is doing with mothers and helping, you know, women with young children or just children in general continue to be able to work on their careers, because it's tough when you have a child to, you know, continue to, you know, even things like auditioning, like it's very hard to get a babysitter for, you know, an hour. So is there a place where I can drop off my child if I'm auditioning somewhere in Midtown? So things like that, I think have been really incredible steps that the Actors Fund has, you know, taken in conjunction with, you know, meeting with and speaking to not just moms, but really parents. Yeah, I mean, certainly during this time, it's like, I think, you know, actors and artists have really sort of gotten the short end of the stick during all of this, and the funding for the arts has been really disappointing. And I think we also all know, or, you know, at least speaking for myself, during those dark days when we were all in a shutdown, I watched more Netflix, you know, and movies and streaming services than I probably ever have in my entire life. And that was what sort of got me through that time. So, you know, people, I think, sometimes think, well, the arts really aren't important. Well, the arts are the things that get us through these dark times.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, I understand we also need a vaccine. I get that too. But again, they're not like binary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Great. So I'm going to move on to what we just mentioned before. Your realty firm. You have a realty firm. You are the CEO of Bohemia. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So when I was, before Spelling Bee was Spelling Bee, it was called Crepuscule. And I was a creator of the show, and I was also a producer. And I was having a very hard time. You know, I called my family members and friends, and I was getting $50 here and $100 there. And I had a friend who had recently left the service industry, also an actor, and gotten into real estate. And he encouraged me to do it, and I was very resistant to it. I thought, you know, I'm an artist. I am not selling out. I'm not going to be some, you know, corporate real estate person. And I really sort of turned my nose up. And I was also nannying for Wendy Wasserstein at the time, who was actually the first female playwright to win a Pulitzer Prize. And I went to her and I said, you know, I'm like thinking about doing this, but I feel like I'm going to be a sellout. And what she said to me was, what do you think? You're the only person that's ever suffered for their art? Get off your high horse. Come down and live with the rest of us. So I thought, all right, I'll do it. I'm going to do this for 3 months. And, you know, that was about 20 years ago. So when I started getting into real estate, I actually found that I really, really loved it, because it provided an opportunity for me that the arts just did not. You know, I found that the arts was so subjective. You know, I could go in for an audition, feel like I had a great audition and never hear anything, or go in, feel like I was like, oh gosh, I bombed that audition. And then I would get the job and I was like, I have no real idea what differentiates one from the other, which is quite frankly why I was creating Spelling Bee, because I was like, this is going to be my show. I'm going to create a character that nobody can sort of tell me you're not doing that the right way, because I'm setting the mold. And so I sort of think that same type of thinking led me to go into real estate, where, what you put into it is what you get out of it. So, if you're putting in a certain amount of hours, you knew that you were going to get appointments and hopefully do some deals. So I found it very, very rewarding. And actually, even when Spelling Bee went to Broadway, I continued to do real estate because I loved it so much. And Jose Lana, who was in the original Broadway cast with me, was like, you really love doing this, huh? And I was like, I do. It's really inspiring and really like fulfilling. And so he got his license. Nice. And we would be showing apartments in between our matinee and evening shows.
No way.
And it was great. I used a lot of the skills that I had as a trained actor in real estate. So, I would think about, okay, well, what's my objective and how am I going to get there? What tactics am I going to use to get there? And my background in improvisation helped with that very much. I think actors are normally, we're just people that hustle, which was really helpful to me. And actors have a high emotional IQ. And so when you're dealing with people that are on an emotional journey, which they are in real estate, when you're moving homes, it's always because of something that's going on in your life that's usually pretty big. And when you have somebody that has a high emotional IQ and can help you on that journey, I think you're already like 10 steps ahead of the game. So I ended up opening Bohemia Realty Group after several years of being a real estate agent. And my goal with the firm was to create a culture of working artists and actors that could supplement their creative income stream in this other way, so that they didn't necessarily have to do projects that they didn't want to do. They could create their own works of art. They could produce their own shows because they would be making money in this other way, and they're able to use their skills in this other way. So it's been very fulfilling, and it's really certainly very nice to come into an office with like-minded people, and we can creative problem solve, and it's just, it's not a corporate environment. So it's been really, really great.
That's wonderful. Yeah. When I hear that you are giving opportunities to working actors, it just reminds me of a lot of my students that had so much talent when I was working with them. But as we got closer to senior year, the idea of being an artist would scare them. It would, the success rate, how tough it is, it scares away some of these amazingly, genuinely talented young actors. And I love hearing that there are things like this where you can balance the arts and a job and be able to support yourself while still, following your dreams in a way.
Yes. I mean, and look, I understand too, that fear of not wanting to go into the arts, because yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's a hustle. And I think that there are very few, highly successful people now that didn't at some point suffer and struggle to get where they are. That's just part of it, But that being said, at least for me, all of that suffering and struggling has made me a better actor and a performer and creative person. It gives you life experience. And that being said, you can also make a decision, at least, and for me, it was to go this other route. I had been also waitressing for many, many years. And I was like, I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life. I have to figure out some other way to make money. And that can be whatever it is, for anybody. It's like, I also nannied. I think the secret is to find something that you enjoy doing, that you don't feel like you want to, poke your eye out when you go in to do that survival job, that you do find inspiration from that survival job, that you can put it into your art.
Yeah. And I love that you also mentioned like these little theater terms, like your objective and things like that, and improv, just proving that you know, there's a lot of students that take the arts and acting to satisfy a gen ed, you know, and I think it's so important that we see examples of jobs where
Oh,
theater is so important to
oh
have
my gosh.
in your back pocket.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the first couple of improv classes that I took at the Upright Citizens Brigade, and this was many years ago, probably 20 years ago, I was one of the only actors in those classes. It was full of corporate people, like bank managers, teachers, nurses, like from all sorts of different kinds of jobs. And I was like, what are all these people doing here? And they were doing it because the skills that you learn in improvisation, the listening and the reacting, the picking up on nonverbal cues, are applicable in in every single line of work that you can ever think of. You know, as are so many of just sort of like the theater games that you play. You don't even think that you're like tapping into anything, but you really are, because so much about theater is listening and responding and making a connection with somebody. And quite frankly, in any job that anybody goes into, I can't think of a single one where that skill does not come in very, very handy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Okay, we're down to our last question already. And that is just, what advice do you have for young actors that are looking to get into the business?
Well, I can sort of just talk about my own experience, which is that when I first got to New York, I was doing a lot of auditioning for everything, just sort of putting myself out there. And I think that is one way to go. But ultimately for me, when I found improv, that's when I knew that was going to be my thing, because I'm not really a great, like, you know, I'm like a fine singer. I'm a terrible dancer. And I'm a very strong writer. And I found that with improv, I was like, oh, this will be the thing that this is the tool that I can use to kind of get where I want to be. And I also found, you know, over the first couple of years that I was in New York, that I'm also not a great auditioner. So for me, I found that I wanted to be a creator. I wanted to create work that I could then be in myself, or that I could just write and pass along. And once I sort of found out that that was my thing, I went really hard on it. You know, I had started taking some like jazz classes, and I was like, this ain't never going to work for you. You know, you're just not a dancer. You know, like I just didn't have it. So for me, it was about really focusing on the things that I enjoyed and that I knew I was good at. And I think certainly right now there are so many opportunities for actors, and certainly young actors that understand technology, not like this grandma over here. Yeah. To put things on tape, to make things with your friends. You shoot it on your iPhone. You know, you can all do it separately and edit it together. You know, there are so many ways that you can get your art out into the world. I didn't have those opportunities 20, 25 years ago. That technology just didn't exist. But people are doing it anyway. I'm sure your students are doing it anyway. They're doing it on TikTok. They're doing it on Blick Block. But you know, those platforms are there. So people are using that creative energy, you know. So I would say, like, just make it be fun. When we were creating Spelling Bee, the goal was like to have fun. We're going to just do something that we're going to make each other laugh, you know, and if we make each other laugh and then other people laugh, great. But like, we're going to put something up just because we want to put it up and we think it's funny. And if other people think it's funny too, great. And fortunately, other people did think it was funny. Yeah. But we never thought the show would like go to Broadway. We never thought it would be licensed and done at other high schools. So you just never really know. Do something that makes you feel good. Put art out into the world that makes you feel good. And, you know, see if other people also gravitate towards that.
Yeah, and I think you're a perfect example of that, because I think it's just the era right now of, if there's not work for you, create it for yourself.
Yes.
And I think I can't think of a better example of that than Spelling Bee, and just seeing the journey of Spelling Bee from this little show and an idea, and even hearing how you created Logan Schwarzenegger from just being around the young actors and picking up little things and building a character off of that.
And I'll also tell you that the inspiration for Logan Schwarzenegger came from a student that I was teaching, because one of my side hustles was teaching improv at a grade school on the Upper East Side, at PS6 on the Upper East Side. So the inspiration from Logan came truly from this little boy, Martin, who was trying to get a book published. He was like in second grade. So, I used that when I was creating the character. So it's just about finding that inspiration from wherever you can and putting it into your art.
Yeah. What a full circle moment that is, that you were inspired by a really young aspiring actor student, and they were the inspiration for this iconic role.
Yes. And to speak even a little bit more about Spelling Bee, we had no budget, we had nothing, and so that's why, and I think that's why Spelling Bee is done so often in high schools, because it can, if it's done sort of like the it looks, the more truthful it is to the show, because it is supposed to be done in a high school auditorium or a high school gym. It doesn't, nobody needs to be like an incredible dancer. You know why? Because the people that created the roles weren't incredible dancers. So there aren't these huge sequences where there's music, where there has to be these big dance numbers that has to fill that music, because we're not great dancers. So it's because of where we were, we created this show with the limited means that we had, and that just became part of the integrity of the show.
Yeah.
You can use those things that you think are challenges again and turn it into really something that sets you apart.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Sarah. It was such a pleasure. We love having you every time you are available to interact with the students of Union City. It's so appreciated. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Mwah. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Bye. Bye.
Hello again. Jumping back into our alumni performances, next up we have Barsabe Martinez performing the show-stopping number, I'm Here, from The Color Purple. Take it away, Barsabe.
Hi. I miss you guys all, and this goes out for everybody. Woo! I hope you enjoy. I don't need you to love me. I don't need you to love. I got my sister. I can feel her now. She may not be here, but she's still mine, I know. She still loves me. Got my children, I can't hold them now. They may not be here, but they still mine, I hope. They know I still love them. Got my house, it still keeps the cold out. Got my chair where my body can't hold down. Got my hands doing good like they supposed to. Showing my heart to the folks that I'm close to. Got my eyes, though they don't see
Thank you, Bersabe. Let's just take a second to appreciate the amazing talent that has come out of UC. Speaking of amazing talent, our next performer is no stranger to the UCHS stage. Performing How About a Dance from Bonnie and Clyde, let's welcome back Sabrina Perez.
Hey guys, it's Sabrina. I'm so grateful to be here, and even though I wish we were in a theater, this is gonna have to do for now. So I hope you guys enjoy the performance. How about a dance? What do you say? I've got some moves that I'd love to show ya. Can't find a spot to dance the night away. How about a dance? It's always fine. Come over here, let me get to know ya. Can't beat a band to lift your spirits up. You look so handsome. How about a dance? Let's make a start. Music like this can really throw ya. You lose the blues and you may lose your heart. Tonight is the night I've been waiting for. Even the moon looks just right. I'm sure the crowd will make a move on the floor when they see you look like you do. So how about a dance? Let's make a start. Music like this can really throw you. You lose the blues and you may lose your heart. You lose the blues and you may lose your heart.
Everybody, I hope that you are enjoying the show so far. Our next guest starred as Simba in Vegas, the national tour of The Lion King, and Broadway's The Lion King. You might have also seen him in Smokey Joe's Cafe, and he is currently playing Eddie Kendricks in Ain't Too Proud on Broadway. Jelani Remy.
Pew, pew, pew. Hey.
Hey, Jelani, how are you?
I just realized there's a computer behind me, and I'm also on one, so.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so good to see you. I'm
Yes.
more happy that I'm getting to talk to a friend.
I know, friends. Yes, we go back to our Montclair days.
Go Red Hawks.
Those precious, precious days at Montclair State University, which is actually producing a bunch of people right now.
Yo, Montclair is thriving. Montclair is thriving, which is so cool to know that we were the guinea pigs.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? We were the lab rats.
We are where it all started.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have you on Broadway killing it. We have Josh Dela Cruz.
Steve.
That is Blues Clues and You. Straight
But
from
you know
Montclair.
what though? I've honestly, from my education at Montclair, I have been equipped with tools that have helped me get to where I'm at now. You know, whether it was Clay not putting me in a show because he wanted me to train somebody else, I learned how to be a swing and how to work with other people. Or Jorge having me choreograph Morietta, I then got my choreographical hat on and how to work with people in different levels of dance.
Yeah.
You know, so through my college experience, it definitely has totally given me armor to thrive in this crazy world of auditioning, which is what we do. You know, we're auditioners. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that I always say that your college experience is what you make of it at the end of the day.
Oh, totally. Ingrid Pruce teaching me how to sew a button. Thanks, girl. I know.
Yeah, I mean, you're put through everything. You're building sets, you're moving sets, you're hustling at Montclair, and yeah, I mean, I think that's what equipped me to be a teacher as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sweet.
And you I loved I also now teach as well. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, "What have you been doing in quarantine?"
Yeah, that's my first question for you.
Oh, work. See.
You can why don't you just interview yourself?
Hi, I'm Jelani Remy, and I'm interviewing Jelani Remy. Hi. Well, Jelani Remy in quarantine has definitely been on a wild sort of roller coaster because like my safe space, which is performing, was taken away, right? And there was no sort of like say as to when it was going to happen. So it became everything was thrown on the table, like my schedule, my income, my worth, my purpose, and like my outlet. So it's like, okay, well, what do I do? Who am I? Like, what? So at the beginning, it wasn't so good. You know what I mean? It wasn't so good because like we were all, and then people wanted you to perform on the internet, and it's like, I love that, but like, the only thing about it is like this. That's not the same as like an applause that you get like in the theater and the energy that the theater provides. So I wasn't ready to sort of adapt to the time. I wasn't ready. Yeah. And actually, what saved me was education. I was asked to teach others and the youth and to sort of prep them. And in that, I found that like, okay, this is what it is. I can still inspire. I can still be creative. I can still groom the next generation. And that in turn gave me the sort of like fire to reinvent myself and start writing. Put the pen to paper. Go basic. Like go back. Put a cabaret together. Do things clean out that book. You know what I mean? And I actually was able to write a cabaret. Fast forward to in October, I got to perform said cabaret in front of a socially distanced audience outside, and I got to work through some things that like I needed to work through, but via music, because music, of course, is so important to all of us. Yeah. And I was able to pick a Broadway catalog and also write some songs that like definitely got out some things that I was working through, and just sort of like found myself and armored myself to be able to continue to teach, but also to tap into the new realm of performing that we're doing. Because the one thing is for sure that us theater people always find a way to come through, whether it's support, whether it's performance, whether it's in the year theater people, we get it. We'll take our sweet time to get there. Don't worry, you know what I mean? But the theater folk community will always find a way to be there, because the arts are so necessary, and it saves. Art saves. You know, it saved me to begin with because it gave me a purpose. I chose this career path because of how it made me feel, and it was a little shaky because everything was up in the air. But then it was like, okay, you are still you, and now you could be even more. Yeah, absolutely. All things considered. So log on, get it together.
Yeah. I think being in school with theater, like we were saying, I think it also teaches you to adapt to every type of situation. I think as theater artists, that's our
gig, to adapt.
Yeah, that's our greatest tool, is the ability to adapt. I think being a theater teacher, being able to adapt to a student dropping out from a show, boom, we don't have a set designer, boom, we don't have okay, how are we gonna do this? Let's gather wood.
Turns out all you need is a green screen.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. But yeah, I love that. So you kind of answered this, but I want to rephrase this question. So the question was, how are you staying creative? And I love hearing that you've created your own cabaret. That's incredible to be able to have an outlet to get stuff out.
Yeah, it's called Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yes. So I would say, how do you deal with, and I guess this goes for even when we're not in a pandemic, how are you dealing with like creative block?
Don't fight it. With creative block, it comes in an instant and it can leave in a second. But it's about jotting it down and don't force it. Mm-hmm. You can't force it. It's like a pregnancy. You know what I mean? You gotta just take it time and let it come to full birth, and like just rub it out. You know what I mean? Just rub that idea out, just figure it out, and it'll happen.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll happen. But also like take take time and do more research. You know, the YouTube is right there. Like, look up that clip, look up clips of inspiration, look up the genesis of the idea, and like look up things that maybe have nothing to do with it as well. And like, there's so many outlets to sort of like be like, like when I'm singing a song, like if I want to do like a different version of a song, I want to listen to any sort of remake that I've heard and then maybe find my own. You know what I mean? But definitely listen to all the things because everything old is new again, but also like inspiration is key.
Mm-hmm.
And inspiration is all around you. You just have to sort of like dive in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. So as you know, a lot of tonight is raising awareness about the Actors Fund.
Ooh.
So I would love to ask you, how has the Actors Fund been a part of your life and how have they helped you?
The Actors Fund is a part of my life in such a dear way because there was a time when I was going through some things and needed someone to talk to, and I went to the Actors Fund, and they provided me with someone to talk to just to get just someone who went through the similar situation and that's only what they did for me. Like they do so many great things for so many people around this country and one of my favorite things is the Actors Fund performance because our peers get to come and see us perform, and all the money goes to the Actors Fund, who then continues to help us. So it's this circle of life that literally continues to help and inspire and nurture and be there for. And they have such a great wide range of things that they help us with as well. So it's really for us, by us. You know what I mean? There's so many great faces connected to the Actors Fund. So I am so indebted to them and what they stand for and how they help.
Yeah, I love because we have this idea that they've been helping a lot of actors through this pandemic and pandemic relief, but you know, we have had some of the past actors that I've been talking to also talking about those classes that they provide and how beneficial they've been.
There's something for everyone at the Actors Fund, period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes. All right, awesome. I talked to Noah about this a little bit, but I would love to ask you as well. A lot of the students that I work with and are young actors slowly auditioning for schools and getting into the business, and students that I have gotten into BFA programs from Union City are all actors of color, which we love to celebrate. And we love to celebrate diversity. So I would love to hear from you what it is like to be an actor of color in the business right now.
I'm at home. Period. But I know what you're asking me, and I'm going to say this. I think that it's a time for us to open eyes to things that people never had to think about. Mm-hmm. You know, they never had to think about microaggressions. They never had to think about, you know, I call it casting, but people used to call it colorblind casting. Why? I want you to see my color. Mm-hmm. I want you to see my color and know that I'm getting this role because I'm the best for it. Whether it be me being Harold Hill, whether it be me being what's his name, Fierro, whether it's me being, you know what I mean? Like, I can do this, you know, and I'm capable to do that. And I want to be seen not because I'm filling a quota, but because of my talent and my worth. And I don't want to be put into a box of characters that I should be playing. I'm an actor. And that's our job, is to play characters and step into the role and make people feel. And that's why I'm so happy and also sad because, like, it's a big change for everybody. Big changes for everybody, or little changes. Whatever the change is, there has to be change. And I even myself, I think I had maybe had blinders up to things that I didn't pay attention to, that I said yes to, or that I said okay with, or that I didn't see how bigger picture it could affect me or the next generation of me's.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying me. You know, you all are wonderful in your own path, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's why sitting back and watching this world change, I want to continue to be there. I want to continue to listen. I want to be able to start conversation as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we have these preconceived notions of, especially when we're young, and I know when I was in high school, I don't know about you, but we were constantly trying to aspire to be a type.
Well, I just graduated high school, so.
Wow, you look great.
I look young.
We're all striving to hold on to that youth for as long as we can.
No, but yes, you are
no.
completely right. We are sort of, our brains are programmed to say, well, that looks like me, so that should be me. You know what I mean? And we gotta shake that mold. We gotta say, I'm Jelani, you are Anthony, you are Carissa, you are Maggie, you are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jimmy June, and Jimmy June, of course. And that is enough.
Yeah.
And that is beautiful. And you don't need to pretend to be a carbon copy of somebody else. You need to start making your own footprints and journey on your own path.
Yeah.
Because that is when I found that it's the most fruitful, and that's when it's also the most honest and also the most fulfilling when people get. And when I'm in an audition, I just pray that my heart shines through.
Yeah.
Because nerves get you. The material gets you. All this is working against you. And you have such a short amount of time to present yourself. But when they get to see you, that's when I feel like, okay, win, lose, or draw, I'm happy that I was seen for myself.
Yeah. It's a difficult, I think, shift of mentality to know that being the most you is what books the roles and what is going to make a difference in this industry.
Isn't that funny? You gotta be you to book the role of.
I know, right? Great.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Well, to wrap this all up, I just want to ask if you have any specific type of advice for young actors that are looking to get into the business, auditioning for colleges. I mean,
yes,
college auditions are right around the corner for some students. So, what advice do you have for them?
I wish all of you going out there the best of luck, of course, and I want you to cherish every moment and enjoy what you do, because so many people are aspiring to be in this community, in this and don't really see it, but you are enough, and you are you, and you are beautiful. I want you to never lose your light and never compare yourself to another person's journey. I want you to stay focused on your own, but also don't focus too much that you forget about things that can help you along your way. You know, some people just want Broadway or bust, but it's like that community theater, that regional theater, that national tour is also a great experience for you as well.
Yeah.
And there's no other you. So don't cheat us of you. There's no other you. And also, call your Uncle Jelani. I'm here. And also, just continue to do work that makes you proud. That's the thing that I found, like passion pieces and things that feed your soul. Continue to nourish your soul and to feed it, and to provide good moments that continue to make you and your parents proud. You know?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jelani. It was so wonderful catching up with you.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for coming over to Union City and spreading some wisdom amongst us. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Namago.
Our next performance blew the roof off our theater in 2012 with her performance as Maria in UCHS West Side Story. Returning to perform the hit song from Anastasia, please welcome Sofia Introna. Woo!
Hello, everyone. First off, I wanted to say thank you to Anthony, Mr. G, for letting me do this year. I wasn't able to make it to the one last year, and I'm so happy I get to perform for it this year. It's crazy that last year was the last alumni showcase, and the world seems like such a different place now, but it's still really awesome that we get to celebrate Union City High School Theater and its alumni in this way. So yeah, here is Journey to the Past from Anastasia. Heart, don't fail me now. Courage, don't desert me. Don't turn back now that we're here.
People always say life is full of choices. No one ever mentions fear or how a world can seem so vast on a journey to the past. Somewhere down this road, I know someone's waiting. Years of dreams just can't be wrong. Arms will open wide, I'll be safe and wanted, finally home where I belong. Well, starting now, I'm learning fast on a journey to the past. Home, love, family. There was once a time I must have had them too. Home, love, family. I will never be complete until I find you. One step at a time, one hope, then another. Who knows where this road may go? Back to who I was, on to find my future, things my heart still needs to know. Yes, let this be a sign, let this road be mine, let it lead me to my past and bring me home at last.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a moment out of tonight to mention a little shout out to some very important, inspiring students. Some of our theater alumni are currently first responders and are currently in the armed forces. So I just wanted to shout out to you guys. I wanted to thank you. What you're doing is so important. You make me so proud, so proud. And here are some of these amazing students. Love you guys. Hello again, everyone. Before I bring out my last surprise guest of the evening, I just want to send out a huge thank you to all of the alumni that sent in videos and took time out of their busy schedules to perform for us. It definitely is a little beacon of light to see all of my previous students come back and perform again. Definitely warms the heart. So thank you guys so much. I love you all. Awesome. So I'm so excited to bring out our next guest because they have had an amazing journey from stage to screen, which I think is great for you guys to hear about. You might have seen them in New York in the staged version of Clockwork Orange. You might have seen them on TV in Nosferatu. You might have seen them in the Goldfinch movie. And most recently, they were in America's #1 movie, Freaky, playing the role of Josh Misha Oshirovich.
Magic.
Yay! How are you,
Hello.
Misha?
I'm good. I am tired but good. I'm very ready for 2021.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I think you have a bunch of insight into different things that I think is great for students to hear about. Young students that are looking to get into this business. I think this business has many different facets, and I think you have a lot of experience in many different realms.
Thank you.
Yeah. So first off, let's talk a little bit about Freaky. I was lucky enough to see Freaky like the week before it came out in a drive-through theater, which was awesome and such a perfect way to watch a movie like Freaky.
It's a good movie for drive-ins. Yeah.
So good. So much honking. It's such an interesting environment. And that's kind of like one of the little perks of going through an epidemic is that you get to go old school and experience things like that, you know?
Yeah. I it's been really cool to see the drive-ins happen, and like for most people that was one of the first ways I saw the movie, and I'm like, great, it's a classic drive-in movie, I'll take it.
It's so good. It's so funny. So talking about the movie, tell me a little bit about what it was like to, this is your first big lead in a motion picture that was #1 in the box office, which is crazy. So what has that experience been like for this movie? And also, what has it been like promoting this movie through a global pandemic?
Yeah, it's been so easy. And no, look, it's from start to finish. It's been such an exciting project. It's one of those where you book it and you're like, that's not real. That's not real. I didn't book it. You're lying to me. And like, no, it was amazing. And it's a queer character. It's two fantastic queer filmmakers that are making it, Chris Landon and Michael Kennedy. And I could tell even in shooting it that there was so much love and like goodness baked into it that like I'm just really proud to be a part of it. It's kind of cool to be part of a project that, of course, yes, it's amazing to have my first like big role in a movie, but literally every single person on that set was there to not only have fun, but to make a thing that we're really proud of. And I'm super proud of what we've been able to do in press. Even like, my self-tape backdrop is over there. That's what I did all my press.
Yeah.
And yet that's kind of okay. Like I really got to hone in on what I wanted to say about the queerness of the film and about how proud I am of the film. And I just said it to my camera instead of saying it to a big audience. And I think that's fine.
Yeah, definitely. It's such an exciting movie. And I think it's such an exciting time for representation.
Correct.
Great. So if people don't know you, you are a writer, you are an activist. And a question that I've been asking all of the performers that have been coming in is, how have you been staying creative during this time?
Sure. So I'm absolutely a writer, and I've become, I would say, even more so during the pandemic. Look, I've always known that my career is not just going to be just an actor, just a writer, just a producer. I want it all. I've always wanted it all. So I really took the time now when, yes, I'm auditioning and that's all very exciting. And yes, this movie's coming out, but I write, and I really, especially at the top of this pandemic, I did the morning pages. I really honed in on my latest concept, and I wrote my first real start to finish project. And I can't say much about it, but I can, as you know, before we even got on this call, like I feel like I'm doing the thing with it, and I'm really establishing myself in this industry as a writer, and that a lot of it has come from the pandemic, having the time to do so. So obviously that comes from such a place of privilege. I know so many of us are struggling in all kinds of different ways because of this pandemic. But I really was given the time to hone in on a craft that is not as easy to do when the world is more hectic and normal. So I'm really happy in that way that the pandemic gave me that time.
Yeah, and I think this pandemic and just where we are, I think, as a society and as a business, and I think it's shaping actors to be more than just actors and well-rounded artists and writers, producers,
and entrepreneurs. You have to be.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. So I would love to talk a little bit about, we both went to Montclair State, not at the same time, quite a few years between us. From years.
Sure.
But we both had the same teachers. We both started with this very theatrical background. And then we were talking a little bit about, the same thing. Well, you had your experience on stage, but I think it's always interesting to see how our training shapes us for different things, and how, I knew that when I started getting into the industry more, I thought that I was going to be theater. And I did not book one theater audition whatsoever. And I was getting all of these TV film roles, and I was very confused by it. But I don't know if how many young actors know about how different those industries are, both as a workplace and also how you have to, conduct yourself, change your acting for theater and film. So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, look, I think it's always so funny when I think about like theater school, especially something like Montclair, where it's not just theater school. We are rolling around on the floor saying that there's blue coming out of our vocal cords, like it's theater school. And yet, besides my one like big theater gig that I booked, like it's funny how every single film and TV role I've had to really draw upon an element of theatrical training, and it really served me to not completely forget my theatrical training when I'm on these various sets. For Goldfinch, it was such a physical role. I was fight training, I was using guns, I was tackling people twice my size in these scenes. Like my physical stamina really came into play. For Nosferatu, that, granted, it's a small little TV role, but I was a mean, like straight up theatrical kind of, really snarky friend. It's not your everyday run of the mill, like, mumblecore in an indie film. It was a theatrical moment. So drawing upon that. And then for Freaky, it is a horror comedy slasher. I am on top of Vince Vaughn and then screaming about being gay and then running away from a 6 foot tall butcher. So like there's a lot of theatricality that comes into play, as I'm sure you've experienced with a lot of film and TV.
Yeah.
But
I mean, especially the roles that both of us are being given.
Right.
It comes along with the theatrics.
Exactly. And, you could argue that a lot of queer roles these days are incredibly theatrical, and there's some greatness to that and some to that. And, but it is a different workplace and it's a different industry. The same drive and passion that you have to have, whether you're going into theater or film or both, is obviously still there, but it does have to get funneled into different ways. With TV and film, it's so much about relationships, and it's more than I even thought it would be. Whereas theater, so much of it is about your chops. If you go in, you have the language skills, you nail the audition, you hit the high note, that is a thing that you can present to the world. But in TV and film, there's a lot of yous. There's a lot more of yous. And there's a lot of yous that are, might have this credit, that credit, know this producer, know that casting director. So relationships is everything. Work on the short films, work on your friends' sets, hold the boom, do what you have to do to embed yourself at the ground level with TV and film. That's certainly what I did. And I know even with Angelica Santiago, with my film with her, that's what we did. And that has infinitely served me. That attitude has infinitely served me.
Yeah, I think it's humbling.
Yeah.
And I always go by there's a quote that is, TV will make you rich, movies will make you famous, but theater will make you good.
I like that.
I love that, because I think that it's always interesting to see actors that go from have their start and are primarily film actors going to theater. Very rarely is that a successful thing. Notoriously, they usually have earpieces in their ears trying to remember lines. But when you start with theater, I think, because when you're in a show, you're on and you can't stop, and it kind of it strengthens this certain kind of muscle that I think film hones a different type of muscle, I think.
It does. And it's funny, the same kind of grit that you need to get through a show without stopping is a similar kind of grit that you need for doing a fight scene at 3 a.m. on a set when you've been there since 3 p.m.
Yeah.
It's still stamina. It's just a different lane. It's a different channel.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Sweet. So throughout the night, we've been mentioning the Actors Fund. And I'm just asking the different performers that are coming on, our guests, how they have, how Actors Fund has helped them and been there for them
Sure.
as performers in this industry.
So truly, as somebody who I'm already not the most physically healthy to begin with, like I, all kinds of health problems, and I'm one of those kids. And also, my first theater show, Clockwork Orange, really injured me. I went too hard and I expected too much of my body and everything down to like spine surgery after that show. And yeah. And the Actors Fund Health Center in New York in particular they're still my doctors, and I live in LA now. Like they're amazing. Of course, when I need to see a doctor, it's different here, but like in terms of prescriptions, always getting on the phone with me for e-visits whenever I need. My doctor there, Jason Kint, I love you. It's a really amazing place, and they're really sensitive to health needs, especially for actors, the high demand of performing, needing to, especially when it comes to like auditions, especially for singing and dancing, like they really actually have it together when it comes to talking and to actors about their health needs and providing that help really efficiently and usually for really cheap. So I really appreciate them for that.
Yeah. I think it's super important, especially at this time. And this is why we've been mentioning them throughout the night, is because actors are at a place where it's so bizarre, especially living so close to the city, knowing that I probably would have seen so many shows by now, and it's just been completely swept out from under their feet.
So many of your friends would have been employed. So many actors would have been getting their start coming out of school this year. It's a robbed year when it comes to the stage community. I believe that.
Yeah. Now, going back to Freaky, one of the most important things that I think that this horror movie has done is give representation to minorities that usually don't have lead roles in horror movies, are usually the first ones to be offed by the killer, are usually the joke of the movie, but they have given an opportunity to a queer actor as yourself and your castmate, a Black actress, and the lead, who is a woman, to have this empowering character. I think is such an amazing thing. So yeah, I think it's been a very interesting journey for the queer community within film, and how we're represented, and not being the pit of the joke, or not trying to satisfy a demographic, but actually
Tokenizing.
Yes, exactly. Like having power. So if you want to talk a little bit about that and what it's like to kind of through this movie, and after this is done, you guys can Google Misha and see all the amazing interviews and articles. And you had an article in Variety, correct? Variety, with this gorgeous picture. I think it's so awesome that through this pandemic, you've kind of been this little beacon of the LGBTQ plus community. So what has that been like?
Well, that's incredibly kind. Thank you. I do my best. Look, like I said, this film comes from two queer filmmakers, and they, from the outset, from reading the script when I auditioned for it, they knew that they didn't want to just have a queer kid as a lead role and a Black actress as another lead in the film, and a woman as the third lead. It wasn't just that. They wanted to comment on it. One of the most infamous lines in the film, if it's from the trailer, "You're Black, I'm gay, we're so dead." I'm not trying to give out spoilers, but my character and Celeste's character, my Black co-star, really are so central to the plot, and we drive the story forward in a way that most characters of color and queer characters, especially in horror films, don't often do. It was really empowering just to be part of a movie that did that commented on how queer people in particular are treated often in the past and in films and in media in general. But then, that really became such a focal point of the PR of the film, and everybody really latched onto that, as you saw even with the Variety article, talking about the history of queerness in film, how queers are often treated in film, in horror in particular. And all the conversations that I got to have with, on these major outlets about how queerness is in fact something that should be celebrated and should be represented in all of its forms. And if a film like Freaky commenting on it and poking fun at the shameful way Hollywood has treated queers up to this point is the way to do it, great, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool. It's been one of the more gratifying kind of heartfelt parts of promoting this film, is realizing that in its own funny, campy, scary way, it's poking at real deep set issues, especially in the queer community.
Yeah. In the industry, notoriously the queer community is told to embrace either the jobs that they get, accept these roles where you are the comedic relief, or to stay in the closet because you're going to ruin everything. You're going to ruin your career if you come out of the closet.
Exactly. You're too loud, you're too much, you're too this, you're too that, as opposed to just letting people be.
Yeah, but I think we're at a turning point, and I think you're that turning point right now where actors are being encouraged to be themselves, and I think the industry and the studios is seeing like, oh, they can be themselves, and it's actually selling more than keeping them this little role in the movie. You know?
I know, wild concept that people want to see authenticity on screen. No, but I think that comes a lot with, our generation and, the generation kind of coming up under us. It's this, real Gen Z power of like, we want to see us on the screen, not what you think we look like. We want to see us. And I think, the young queers especially are really pushing that forward. And I do nothing but applaud my queer collaborators at my, career level and age level, and the younger folks coming up under me. Like, it's amazing to see such a fight for authenticity and a demand for authenticity. And I think studios are just finally listening. We're not going to give them our money if they're not going to show real people with real experiences on the screen.
Yeah. Representation. Yes. And finally, I just wanted to talk about, in a few of the past interviews that we've had so far tonight, we've talked about representation for actors of color. But there's also, representation of the LGBTQ plus community and the young actors that are part of that. So I just want to ask, what advice might you give? We have an amazing community at our school. We have an amazing Pride Club at our school. What advice do you have for young LGBTQ plus actors that are looking to get into this business?
I think so much of it goes back to what you and I just talked about, and it's a lesson that I learned kind of the hard way. I went through Montclair State, the theater school that we went to, really trying every which way to mute, conform, and reshape myself to the masculine cis version of Misha. And in so many ways, it made me so deeply unhappy. In ways that, coming out now as non-binary was one of the first real revelations I had at just how much of myself I was muting to try to achieve something, some image that I thought was more palatable for the industry, but also just for life. That toxic gay culture can be really real, where there's, within the queer community, there's not a moment for you to really be yourself, and you feel like you have to shape yourself to a certain image.
Yeah.
And I have never in my life felt more free, felt more straight up talented in the auditions that I'm doing, felt more able to work on my craft, and felt like I've gotten a better response than coming out as non-binary, painting my nails, playing with my voice the way that I want to, dressing the way that I want, and also just allowing myself to feel and be moving through this world as a non-binary queer person and not trying to make myself into something. Ooh, sorry.
It's okay.
And not try to make myself into something, Zoom, that I'm not actually on the inside. So what I have to say is your queerness is your superpower. That is something that I have to tell myself every single day. And I hope that generations younger than me hear that, especially in the performing arts, especially in this industry. Your otherness, that weird thing that people will probably be making fun of you for in, school and growing up, that is your superpower. Do not let people around you try to convince you that it's not anything but that. It is something that will serve you, and it is something that you can hone in to be that much better, different, and more unique than the performers around you. So use it. Don't use it. Don't lose it. I don't know.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. And I think it's just, you're definitely paving the road for the younger generations. And I think it's our job as older, mature actors of our age.
What are you saying?
Mature actors of our age, young adult actors to be paving the way for these young kids to approach the industry being their whole self. And being able to support them in every way that we can, and letting them know that they have a safe space. They have a safe space where they can be themselves, and you know, sometimes they might not have the most support at home for whatever reason, but to know that there is a community with arms wide open for them to be themselves and pursue whatever journey they want to pursue in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Misha. I appreciate
for
you
having
so
me.
much. I know you're super, super busy with the film and promoting and everything. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come out to Union City High School, all the way in
Just
New
imagine
Jersey.
I'm there partying with you.
Yes. I appreciate it so much. So thank you, Misha.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It means a lot.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.
Before we send it back to Mr. Gusevich to close up the night, we just want to remind all of you about our upcoming original show, The Quarantine Project, which will be premiering virtually early next year. See you all then. Throwing it back to you, Mr. Gusevich.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was such a pleasure to put this program together for you all. It took about 2 to 3 months to actually gather all these interviews and get all of these performances from all of our amazing alumni. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope that we were able to capture a little bit of the magic of live theater and bring it to your homes. Hopefully we'll be doing it again live very soon. Thank you to those who took a little bit of time and donated to our Actors Fund link down here. Yeah, there's a lot of actors that are struggling right now, and any little bit that you can do is really helpful. So thank you so much. Now, we have one final surprise performance. As I was reaching out to alumni to see who is available to perform for tonight, I got this idea to gather some of our lady divas from the past few years and perform a little number from Hamilton. So, to perform Schuyler's Sisters, we have Maria Jesus Valdez, we have Sarai Caicedo, we have Sabrina Perez, and Christian Roach as Aaron Burr. Wait till you see this, guys. This number is... Enjoy and have a wonderful night. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Love you all.
There's nothing rich folks love more than going downtown and slumming it with the poor. They pull up in the carriages and God got the students in the comments just to watch them talk. Take Philip Schuyler, the man is loaded. Uh-oh, but little does he know that his daughters, Peggy, Angelica, Eliza, sneaking to the city just to watch all the guys.
Work, Angelica. Work, Eliza. And work, the Schuyler sister, Angelica. Eliza, work. Daddy said to be home by sundown. Daddy doesn't need to know. Daddy said not to go downtown.
Like I said, you're free to go.
But look around, the revolution's happening in New York. Angelica, work. It's bad enough Daddy wants to go to war.
People shouting in the square.
It's bad enough there'll be violence on our shore. New ideas in the air. Look around.
Angelica, remind me what we're looking for.
She's looking for me. Eliza, I'm looking for a mind at work. I'm looking for a mind at work. I'm looking for a mind at work. Whoa.
Woo! There's nothing like summer in the city. Someone in the rush next to someone looking pretty. Excuse me, miss, I know it's not funny, but your perfume smells like your daddy's got money. Why you slumming in the city in your fancy heels? Searching for an urchin who can give you ideals.
Sir, you disgust me.
So you've discussed me. I'm a trust fund, baby, you can trust me.
I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Some men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these